everybody. Thank you, as always, for the time to address the board. To be honest, I didn't expect to be addressing you again so soon. I read today that the source of the threatening email to one of our teachers was identified. That is very pleasing to hear. I look forward to at some point figuring out where it came from and what consequences will be faced, because it's a disruption to our school, to our community. It's really disruptive, and the social chatter, both in the community and on social media, was pretty disturbing. So I am definitely looking forward to finding out how this is going to be resolved. But that's not why I came to speak tonight. And it's apropos from what I do want to talk about, that we're talking about literacy and the previous presentation. When I was a kid, the Scholastic Book Fair was kind of an exciting time, because it was an opportunity as a kid to select books that I thought were interesting to me, that would be fun to read. My parents gave me money. I was able to place the order myself. I went in, bought those books, read, was encouraged to read. It was a really neat time. And we encouraged reading in our house. And when I heard that Groseal Township Schools was hosting a Scholastic Book Fair, great, we're looking forward to that. I was excited about that. So, gave our son some money so that he could make purchases, just like we did before. I volunteered at Park Lane a few years ago, didn't give it much thought. I had read that Scholastic had taken a bit of a political turn, but again, I didn't give that much thought, because this is Groseal and it's an elementary school, so obviously you guys are paying attention to that and you're going to monitor what's being introduced to our children, obviously. And yesterday, my son brought home 2 books that he purchased from his school at the book fair. The title of the first book that he brought home that I'm really concerned about is Some Kind of Hate. There's a lot to unpack here. Our son purchased a book with the word hate in the title from a Groseal elementary school at the Scholastic Book Fair. Let's take a look at the graphic on the cover of this book. I'll send you a copy of it to the board's email address. I don't know if you can see this. It's a baseball bat. It's a baseball bat with nails sticking out of it. Ask yourself, what is a baseball bat with nails protruding from it for? What do you do with that? What type of gratuitous violence are we introducing to our students? The title and the cover alone make this book inappropriate for an elementary school. Yet it was allowed to be sold in our elementary school at a Scholastic Book Fair, marketed and sold to our children. Let me read an excerpt from the publisher's book description. In a stunning story set against the rise of white nationalism comes an unflinching exploration of the destruction of hate, the power of fear, and the hope of redemption. White nationalism, the destruction of hate, the power of fear. My son is in 4th grade. This book is presumably going to be available to 3rd graders, possibly even 2nd graders. This book is not age appropriate. It's wildly inappropriate for an elementary school setting. Nobody walked by, saw this cover, and said, we should probably take a look at this. What are we offering to our students? Just allowed to go. Or somebody walked by and said, yeah, this is okay for our students. That's even worse, because that means that it's a malicious attack on parents, people with normal values. Again, what is this? I've spoken to other parents about some of the content that's available in the books in our schools. Things that are included: drug use, profanity, sexual content. Every one of them said that they brought it to the school's attention, that the librarian or whoever's responsible for the books reviewed it and said, well, it's okay, and your kids don't have to read that book, so we'll make sure they don't read it. That means that you're comfortable with this content. Every one of you sitting here tonight campaigned or applied for the responsibility for our children's education. What are your motivations here? It's a privilege to take care of our kids' educations. Your job is not to introduce adult content and sensitive social narratives to our children. It's my job as a parent. I'm not looking for assistance or moral guidance. That's my job. When you introduce this type of subject matter, you take that away from me. You take that away from my house. As a parent, I shouldn't have to worry about the content, adult content, being introduced to my son or to my children or to any of our neighbors' children. This is not an oversight. It's not an isolated incident. I hear about it from other parents consistently. I want to know how this was allowed, who allowed it, and what's going to be done to make sure our kids are getting kid-appropriate materials. If we're going to introduce violence, sex, drugs, we need to know about that. This is unacceptable, and I look forward to your response. And again, thank you for your time.